Good evening, everybody. How's everyone this fine evening? I see Matthew Pelkey in chat, Toasty Pops, David B. Good afternoon, all you cyber sleuthers, misty-eyed. Time to slay, Jesse. DJ B-Sec says coming in hot off of the jaw-jacking. David P., was I looking at that correctly? Are you brand new here to Slay Security Plus and you are preparing for, is it your Security Plus and your Net Plus? Super cool. Super cool to see people still preparing for Network Plus. I had a conversation with Zach Hill a couple days ago, and I'll reference this conversation quite a bit. But we were talking about the fundamentals and that no matter what avenue you take to get into cybersecurity, you got to pay your dues. And so, yes, you can jump right in, but it's going to take some work because you got to pay your dues, whether that's help desk or a self-starter like Joe Helly, whatever your path looks like for you, it's going to take some work and some sacrifice. And one of the things that we're seeing in the industry is this loss of the focus on the fundamentals. It's all based on the fundamentals, folks, whether it's the TCP stack or the fundamentals of cloud computing and containers, AI, machine learning, whatever area it is, there's going to be a fundamental level of that. So it's good to see you still focusing on the fundamentals. I just got my Security Plus book in the mail, came in yesterday. This is Ian Neal's. Their publisher reached out to me and wanted us to do a review. And so we'll be using the Ian Neal book. Awesome, huh? Isn't it cool how things are moving forward for us? This is a really special episode tonight of Slay Security Plus. Like DJ B-Sec just said, if you don't have the fundamentals, it's going to be rough. You can get right in. And I think one of the reasons we may see a lot of imposter syndrome, if I can go ahead and say that, in the industry is because we sometimes, and this has happened to me, I will jump into a career field and get hired right out the gate and maybe not as focused as much on the fundamentals as I thought I had, which can tend to lead you to believe that maybe you're not where you're supposed to be. Lots of things that we can do to battle that. But yeah, you got to know those fundamentals. This is a really special Slay Security Plus, and we'll get into that here towards the end. I'm going to let chat fill up and grab a drink and get my mind together. I've been running around like crazy. It's been kind of a crazy day here at Slay Security Plus, aka the Jesse John home. All right, what is going on? Who else testing? Anybody already tested? Who's here just for the community and the jaw jacking and the banter? And who has got their certification coming up? Let me know in the chat. I had some good feedback on the YouTube. Somebody mentioned, hey, thanks, Kenneth. Love the glasses. I got them when I some health insurance. They're nice. Slay HQ. This is Slay HQ. When are you taking your Security Plus, your Networks Plus, folks? Let me know in chat when you guys are taking those certifications while we get rallying up. Gather my thoughts, make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. Just here to jaw jack. That's what I love to hear. That is what I love to hear. We're going to get more into that. I'm planning to take mine in 2 or 3 weeks. Matthew Pelkey says, great. Well, you're in the right place. You are in the right place. And speaking of that, because time is of the essence. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I got some really good feedback from a YouTube viewer. I wish I could remember who it was. But the YouTube viewer said that, hey, the chat running along screen looks great, but not when we're studying. And so we're going to jaw jack for a little bit, and I'll try and keep chat running as we're developing our identity here at Slay Security Plus, what we want the overlays to look like and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm always up for suggestions. If you want to have some of your imprint on Slay Security Plus, feel free to DM me. I'm always looking for people to collaborate with, whether that's music, graphic content creation, whatever you're looking like, whatever you want to do to get your name out there and say, hey, I love to contribute to the community. I would love to create that space for you to do that. So feel free to reach out to me because that's always kind of been the point, is to get people involved. Got a few more people sauntering in. I know that there is a ISSA convention meeting going on tonight that Taylor, our host and future, he's about to rock some certs, but he is doing an ISSA class thing, networking thing. And so check out what Taylor's doing. If you want, check that out. Let's get ready to rumble. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Slay Security Plus. If this is your first time joining you for our live study sessions, my name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy, the Cyber Outlaw. Man, I am here broadcasting live from a nondescript home studio in the western Colorado mountains. It's absolutely beautiful out here. And I'm broadcasting to you because we all here gathered to learn how to effectively crush our Security Plus certifications, gain insight into mentoring, live special guests, job opportunities, all kinds of stuff comes out of Slay Security Plus. Zach said this yesterday. Come for Security Plus, stay for the jawjacking. Come for Security Plus, stay for the mentorship. You never know who jumps in chat. We've seen everybody from the Black Hills crew, the TCM crew, Fox Hunt, DJ, our very own DJ BSEC. You never know who's going to be in chat. And so this is a community-led effort. And with that, let's get ready to roll a little bit more into this. I'd like to thank our first session official sponsor, and we'll get more into that today here in a moment. But Simply Cyber, the crew over there at Simply Cyber, and by crew, I do mean Dr. Jerry Ozier himself, with over 20 years of industry experience, 16,000 plus students, and over 101,000 subscribers on YouTube. Literally, he's got a job for it. If you're looking to transition out of something into cybersecurity or information security, I think I'm rolling it back and going old school and call it information security because that's what I think it's cool. Anyways, if you're trying to transition from one into information security, there's a good chance that Simply Cyber has a video for that. So make sure you're jumping into the inclusive community at simplycyber.io. I'd like to thank Jerry for his sponsorship, and we'll get more into that. A little bit about me if this is the first time, and I typically am going to bat for some of our first timers because maybe you've heard about us through Jerry's live stream where he was Josh Mason, or maybe somebody passed their Security Plus on LinkedIn and mentioned us, and now you're here to see what the hype is all about. Let's hope there's not a lot of hype and you're just getting some value. The mission, my mission, and we're going to talk a little bit more about my journey because tonight is really, really special. But a little bit about why I'm here and why there is Slay Security Plus. When I first got here into the industry, there was a lot of resources for Security Plus. 601 is the edition I took. There was a lot of resources, but they were either really cost ineffective, they were expensive, or the study resources I just didn't feel worked for me. And it wasn't until I found folks like Professor Messer, Dr. Pete Zerger, Josh Madakor, and some of those Security Plus folks that were focused on really giving this really phenomenal, you can pass your exam just by their stuff materials for free. Now, the issue that I had is it was spread apart. And I said, okay, cost is going up. There's all these resources. What can we do? How can we give back to the community? And we're going to go through some of my LinkedIn posts, even some of the cringy ones. We're going to do a little dive into my journey, how we got from where we were to where we are now with some sponsorships and Packet sending us books and some other really cool things that we'll talk about here soon. And we'll go through that. So that's a little bit of my mission. I wanted to grab these resources and bring them for free to people because that's how I found things. I had people like Jason Alano and Allison Van Stone back in March of last year say, hey, we do a Security Plus study session. It's absolutely free. It's on Zoom. You never know who's going to jump in the chat. Why don't you join us? I said, oh, this is super cool. And then I went to a Professor Messer study session. I said, look at these people getting into the industry and giving back no matter what level. And so I say to you, coming kind of off the hills of Sandra and Jerry's live stream, you can give back and you can pour into the community no matter what area of your journey is in. If you're day 2, I promise you there's a day 1 person who's jealous to want to know the information that you got. There's always a chance to plug back into the community. And I thought, I can do this. I can get on a microphone and teach and throw down some stuff. So we came out with Slay Security Plus as just an organic, community-led project where we do what we do. Our values is we're highly inclusive. We have a 0 to hero atmosphere, meaning that this could be your very first time popping into Security Plus. You're taking the exam tomorrow morning, or this is your first landing spot in cybersecurity. You were cruising YouTube, you just found us, and now you're here. You're welcome here. It's freely available. It will always be freely available. And I want to clear up, and I also want to pause on this. We talked about doing a course, okay? We talked about maybe Slay Security Plus, collaborating with some people and building a course that would maybe be a pay-what-you-can model or something like that. And that caused a lot of stress inside me, not because I don't think we're capable of building a course. I know that we are. but I wanted to make sure that we kept something very important, and this was the freely available piece. This is why we did this to begin with. And so we, as a group, and by Slay Security, by a group I mean Slay Security Plus, we decided that we are going to do the course. We're going to wait and continue to just hone on our skill sets here, live streaming, and we are going to build a course. It's going to be a phenomenal course, and it's going to be free. It's going to be free. If you build it, they will learn. That's just it. It's going to be an absolutely free course. Slay Security Plus will always be free, 100% free. And the thing is we want you to be, so you know it says freely available here on the slide, and then it goes down and says no BS, industry tested. It's because I have found that sometimes, not all the time, but free stuff isn't as good as maybe the paid stuff. Well, this is no BS, industry tested. The learning techniques, the slides that we use, the practice questions we use are from the industry's best resources that have either been donated to Slay Security Plus, I've purchased them with my own money, or something like that. But it will always be freely available, and it's always going to be a no BS approach, industry tested, certification, study hacks, special guests, lots of mentorship. We've got some really cool special guests lined up that I talked about. It's going to be actionable. That's what we do here at Slay Security Plus. You can drop in on the very first day if you're just getting here and walk away with something. And then we are community-based content. We are we, greater than me. This is highly inspired by the crew over at Black Hills Information Security, Anti-Siphon, TCM, guys like Josh Madakor, of course, Simply Cyber. Communities like that we're saying, you know what, we're only as good as the community that we bring in. Meaning, I only invest in companies that I know without a shadow of a doubt are investing in me. And by now, me has become all of you. And so if you're looking to get in the industry and you're, where do I start? Blue team, red team, purple team, green team, orange team, Google Black Hills Information Security, Anti-Siphon, TCM Security, and look at these companies if you haven't heard them already, and look at what they're doing in our community, in our cybersecurity community. And the reason I'm not dropping links is because I had to go Google it myself and find out. And so I want you to as well. We're going to get a little bit more into what the how Slay Security Plus works and some of the learning strategies that we use when it comes to retention and retaining this information really in an effective way that on test day you can recall it and get the answers correctly. And the reason we focus on Security Plus, this conversation I've had with a few people in the industry, pop the bubble, multiple choice certifications do not tell anybody, and they do not reflect on your ability to be a cybersecurity professional or do the work, the hands on the keyboard stuff, right? Or the content creation or whatever it is. There is no cert that actually can tell somebody this is what you can do. And it really frustrates me when I see people at a disadvantage to get into the industry, and it's something like a multiple choice certification that's holding them back. And so we want to make it so that Security Plus, because it is the heavyweight champion of entry-level certifications, that you're knocking it out of the ballpark quickly and effectively. There is no first prize for study time, and nobody cares what your score is on CompTIA Security Plus. You get it so that you can put it on your resume as a door opener for HR and have a conversation, a high level of cybersecurity. CompTIA does expect you to have some knowledge, the A plus and the Net plus, at least the knowledge, not the certification, but they do assume that you understand the TCP stack and how some of that works. And if you don't, the beauty of our industries, Professor Messer has a whole Network Plus series of videos for that certification that covers all of those CompTIA objectives. So you know that by the time you get to Security Plus, you can do a cram session for Networks Plus and get some of the information, but I cannot stress the fundamentals enough. Home labs, understand TCP, fundamentals. Okay. So we've got a whole method here that we work with. I call it the Pete Zerger method because he's the one that influenced me on this method, and it works, scientifically proven, and it just works. And so we use this Pete Zerger method. It starts with taking a practice test or a practice quiz. You want to document your results to see the areas that you are deficit in, where your knowledge is lacking. You got to know what you don't know or else to study effectively. If you just come into a book like this blindly, your brain's not going to retain anything. It's just going to go, that's a lot of information. And you'll pull a few things out, but you're going to be thumbing through this book, for a lot longer than really you need to, okay? And so we wanted the practice exam, see what we don't know, document those results, and then you find something like the Security Plus book from Ian Neal, or you get Professor Messer's notes for $30, and you do some targeted reading, some targeted study. The brain works by reading, interacting with PBQs, live labs. So the brain, tactile, all the different sensory things that we were taught the brain only learns one way. Well, in reality, we learn a bunch of different ways. And there is a ton of good resources. So you document those results, see what you don't know. And then we want to come back, do this targeted reading on these results, and then quiz and review yourself in a cycle until you get about 95% on the practice tests overall. And then at that point, you're probably ready to go and slay that sucker. This is take a screenshot, come back and watch this, share it with people. This is how we slay this certification in a record amount of time, and not for the sake of boot camp style slay it, but understand the fundamentals, understand why the stuff in Security Plus is important and how it is valuable to your journey, even when it comes to being able to have a conversation. Justin Gold saying he is here but lurking. Huge shout out to our Security Plus content. Some of our training content has been sponsored by Mason SC, your IT partner for secure and efficient future. Josh Mason has been an absolute, just a mentor, coming in and helping me with some coaching ideas around Slay Security Plus, providing us, so me, which means you guys, with awesome training materials and his insight and wisdom from building his CISSP course and doing IT consulting. So make sure you check out Josh Mason, Mason SC. Sick tight rad. Where are you coming from, brother? I've got my Sec Plus at 9 p.m. tonight. Let's go. Let's get on with it then. Man, okay. Well, let's go ahead. Oh, it's Nick Barker. What's up, dude? Welcome to the party, pal. Heck yes, Nick Barker. I'm cramming it, homie. Are you really? I had no idea. Well, let's get rocking. We're going to continue with the community aspect because this is a special night. But don't worry, we do have a lesson planned, and then we do have our live quiz session. And we're going to go through what our learning method that we talked about looks like. That's how our study sessions here work. We're going to do this tonight so you can walk away learning something from day one. Let's go slay it. Grab some water. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay. Now, I gotta be honest with you. This is where it's gonna get really show you how my face on here because I'm probably gonna cry. But this is a really surreal Slay Security Plus. This is where. For the longest time, for all the studying and the labs and some of the live streams, we were doing it from this laptop. And it is a great laptop. My brother-in-law purchased this as actually as a way to help me when I first was trying to get in the industry. So it's a killer laptop. You can see I've got my heroes on here, right? And I love this guy. But it resource limited me from doing some of the things that I said I was going to do when I first started Slay Security Plus. It limited me from doing live labs, doing VMs because of the resources. It's a great business laptop, but it doesn't quite have the computing power. I'm not a gamer. And nor have I reached out to anybody and said, hey, buy me a computer. I need somebody to buy more stuff to make our live stream better. But I noticed that we just kept pushing through. We kept pushing through and we did what we had to do. And then I got a text or a phone call from Dr. Jerry Ogier. He popped in on one of our Slay Security Plus sessions. And I'm a moderator on Simply Cyber's daily threat brief. I met Jerry out at Deadwood for Wild West Hacking Fest. Have a great business and a professional mentorship relationship and became friends over in Deadwood. But really, just like many of you, just showed up to the live stream and commented and kept doing what we do. We rewind about a month ago, and I get an email from Jerry at this time, and he says, "Man, I believe in what Slay Security Plus is. I believe in you. I believe in like how you're carrying yourself, and you've just been rocking this thing." And I'm paraphrasing, but I believe in what you want to do, and I want to contribute. I want to sponsor Slay Security Plus somehow. I want to become an official sponsor. What does that look like? And I said, well, to be honest with you, he's like, do you need money? He says, do you want cash? Do you need money? What do you need? Do you need what do you need me to do to sponsor Slay Security Plus? Do you need cash? I mean, I'll give you, he's like, I'll wire you cold hard cash right now. What do you need? I pay bills. And I thought about it. I said, you know what, Jerry? I said, I'm very resource stretched. I'd love to be able to stream your course, TCM courses, Black Hills, the stuff that inspires me, that I'm in love with doing, hacking, and all these labs that I do on my own time that I'm just dying to share with all of you. I want to get that out for people, as well as the Security Plus stuff. Security Plus is, folks, it's cake. You memorize the concepts they want you to on this book, you go take your test, and you move on. You got this, I promise. And if you don't get it the first time, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that you didn't pop the bubbles correctly. I want you to get that straight. If you don't pass Security Plus, it does not mean that you're a bad cybersecurity person or that you weren't supposed to be in this industry. It may mean that you have got some more studying to do, or it just might mean that you didn't pop the right bubbles, right? And not that you didn't know, but just like these multiple choice exams sometimes get us. And so Jerry said, I believe in what you're doing. I said, I'll give you cold hard cash. I said, Jerry, I said, I'm resource limited. I want to stream all this stuff. I can't do it. He said, okay, let's build you a computer then. Slay Security Plus, let's build a computer. I'm like, what? No way. And I had mentioned this. He's build a couple tiers. I want you to build a top three, a no tier, like a no money, a money's no object, a medium, then a real budget one. So I did that. Got on a website, built this couple sweet computers. Comes back and he says, well, since you're gonna be taking this to the next level, I think you probably need the really nice one. And this was multiple ducats, multiple dollars with a comma and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. I can do a lot of streaming and a lot of gaming, and I'm not a gamer. And so I think to myself, because he said, and I'm thinking before he said, well, here's this. He said, let's team up, let's collaborate. Simply Cyber and Slay Security Plus. I love what you're doing. I want to help. Let me give you an official sponsorship. So I used ChatGPT, plugged in some information, and got a legit sponsorship. And then I'm thinking, and I go, man, that's a really nice computer, but it's not enough. I can't do enough with a really nice computer. I can only stream so much. How about we get a less expensive computer and look at using that sponsorship fundage? Because if you're willing to sponsor that kind of sponsorship, well, what if we took that? Let's just get something. I just need something better than this. I don't need the best yet, because I'll get that. I just need something better than this. Jerry goes, okay, go pick it. Let's buy it. And I am super excited and honored, and it's quite surreal. Come for a drive. Let's see, where are we here? Good morning, Jerry. There we go. Boom. All right. So yesterday in the mail, I'm hanging out and I get it's about where I had it, give or take. I get a DM from Jerry. He says, hey, did your rig get there yet? And I say, no. My lady says, hey, postman's here. Rig is here. I unbox it, and yeah. Slay Security Plus is a full-on community-based content certification crushing initiative, and we've got our first legitimate official mother trucking sponsor. Simply Cyber, Dr. Jerry Ogier, it's an honor. I can't thank you enough. If you're seeing this on Team Replay with your family, equipping Slay Security Plus with this next level allows us to take it to the next level, and it just shows that when you do things with the right intention and you stay consistent, you don't have to do everything for free, but that's just my model. That's what we're going to roll with. That's Slay Security Plus. That's what influenced me, was free, actionable content, and that's where we're going to go. So we've got our very first sponsorship, Simply Cyber, with a badass workstation. Sorry, Kennedy. I'm super excited. I cannot get over it. It's quite surreal. Now, I'm going to pause and I digress, because that is awesome. It's phenomenal, and quite frankly, it's life-changing, because it allows me to build into my community. The whole reason I do this is to give back and then to build a living resume. I want to be clear. I'm building in public, and I'm doing this absolutely so that maybe a dream company or an employer or somewhere down the line goes, dude, I like this. Come work for us. So, and that employer is going to go, well, we're going to only hire him if he can do the stuff behind the keyboard and teach, because those are the only two things I want to do. Let me at them, and then let me teach them. And so this is 100% a living resume. And I'm going to walk you through kind of where we got to, literally 0 connections. I'm almost going on, it's about a year, give or take, of being in LinkedIn and absorbing the community. We're going to go through some of my posts, and some of them are going to be really cringy. Now, you cannot watch if this isn't your cup of tea. You can go watch a different video or whatever. But I want to navigate through you, or with you, how I went from just a dude that fell in love with cybersecurity, wanted to change other people's lives while changing his own. And we're here now, and we're just getting started. Let me share with you a couple things. It's so crazy when you have a processor that's significantly better than what we had before, just how different it is. Okay. Now, this goes back to this is 7 months ago. And it says, Jason Alano, I want to publicly thank you. The time, conversation, and resources you give freely is incredible. We appreciate you. Now, if you're just tuning in, you're like, oh my gosh, is he up here virtue signaling again? Is he up here just telling us how awesome it's going to be to get into cyber and you can do it too? Rah, 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 rah. Maybe, if that's what you want to consider, but I'm just going to tell you that the virtue signaling, or whatever you want to call it, of just being positive and trying to engage people, it worked for me. So that's it, man. We started at 0 and kind of got where we're at. But I want to look at some of these posts. We're going to scroll back. I had these pulled up. So here's just a post of me, of course, Heath. Right, and we've got some funny things. Just came in the mail. Cybersecurity for small businesses, and this is 8 months ago. These free publications from NIST and the Federal Trade Commission. I'll begin creating a cybersecurity awareness conference for the Grand Junction Business Incubator. That's a place in my town. Directly after wrapping up these last 2 certifications, that was Security Plus and then PJPT, within about a week of each other. And I'm not special. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not smarter than anybody else that's on this live stream. I promise you that. Right? Hey, look, this is before the computer had stickers on it. How cute. Because when I got into the industry, I saw what worked. I saw what Jerry was doing, what TCM was doing, what Black Hills was doing, what companies like TryHackMe and Haiku, what they were doing. And I said, if I'm going to get in this industry, if I'm going to sell out, then I'm going to sell out to this industry. I'm going to learn the TCP stack to an extent that I'm living and breathing cybersecurity. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to go to, this is the Bible of TCP used, right? It's called the TCP Illustrated Volume 1 Protocols. It's written by Richard Stevens. This is where I started, and I was preaching it on LinkedIn, and then we started getting made fun of for it. So people are like, we don't want to know the fundamentals. That's not cybersecurity. That's TCP. That's networking junk. Who cares about those guys? They're not cyber security people. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm going to learn the basics because I'm going to go all in. I'm going to figure out what works for me. Now, while I was new to the industry, I wasn't new to careers, okay? I do have experience in law enforcement. I do have some experience in teaching, public speaking, audio, video, IT support. Didn't have the title, but at resetting passwords, all the stuff you do as a basic IT technician, had done that for years. And I said, if I'm going to buy into cybersecurity, information security, then we're going to do it right. We're going to figure it out. And I told my family, I said, give me 8 months to cook. Give me 8 months. And I promise you, I will make a career out of this. It's not only going to change our lives, but it's going to change the lives of people that are around us and in our season, in our sphere, right? And so I started just volunteering. I learned what I could learn. And even if it wasn't very much, it's more than your general shelter has. It's more than your basic preschool has. And so there are so many volunteer opportunities where you can just have a packet. I don't need to be a professional or know anything about a command line to walk into a small business or a small school or something like that and say, hey, my name is Jesse. I'm a recently, and you don't have to tell people that you're even going to actual college. It's how you word it, right? Hey, my name is Jesse. I'm a cybersecurity student, and part of my, call it a final, call it whatever the hell you want to call it, but what you're doing is you're doing the work. You go, part of what I'm doing is I'm handing these out to small businesses in a way to gain cybersecurity awareness, whatever you want to do to word that. And then you say maybe, hey, Ali Pettit just popped up. Please do keep me updated on your journey. Sorry, Ali. Ali is a friend of mine. She's a CV. She's like one of the youngest people to ever get the OSCP. She's younger than we are, but she's become a mentor to me. Absolutely love conversations with Ali. She's kind of helping me. I'm a red teamer, and we've been talking, and I told her about some career path stuff. But Ali's awesome. Go check out her profile and check out her story. She's got an awesome one as well. And so I just started plugging in, volunteering the little bit that I knew how. I was like, well, I don't even have my Security Plus yet, but I have this book, this cybersecurity for small businesses, and I'm reading through it. And I'm going, okay, hold up the Security Plus book or the domain objectives. And I hold up this free publication from NIST, and I start comparing and extrapolating. I see what Security Plus means by this or that. And it gave me one more little thing to talk about, right? And so that was kind of how that began. It was just volunteering, jumping into live streams when Jerry was live streaming. And I'd say, hey, volunteer. Everyone's looking to get an SOC level 1 position, right? Everyone's looking to get that junior pen testing role. Everyone's looking to jump right into these high paid jobs. Right. I'll tell you one thing. I didn't get into cybersecurity for the money ever, right? Not a day goes by. And I am so thankful that I didn't get into it for the money, because it's been a year and I'm doing what I do because I love information security and I love the community aspect. And I know that by having a we greater than me attitude, and by saying when we win, we all win, a new workstation, maybe a new light, a camera, who knows, maybe Black Hills will say, here's some backdoor and breaches to give away. Anti-Siphon just gave me the okay to stream their labs, so we can do live stream of the Anti-Siphon labs, some legit lab content that blows any CTF, capture the flag, out of the water. And so who knows what's going to happen from here, right? And we just see the posts. I was going to say something, right? Wrapping up a long week, feeling gratitude for the connections I've made in the last few months. There's so much support and mentorship here if you know where to look. I appreciate you. See you Monday. Take care of your mind. DM me if you need to vent. Relationships over connections. That's over here in my thing, relationships over connections. I saw a lot of numbers. In this industry, a lot of people with their connections, and I do now have a pretty healthy network, but I never cared. Never got here for the money, never got here for the numbers, never got here for the hype. I don't care if I get to mention Heath's name or Jerry's name. I'm not a name dropper. Rubbed elbows with people like Carrie Underwood and Warped Tour. I mean, I used to be a touring musician, so I don't really get sticker shock, and I don't really get people shock, because we're all on this planet from point A to point B. But I know who to look up to. I know when I see mentorship. And just because somebody's not buying you a workstation, or they're not saying, hey, go to so-and-so's live stream like Jerry does, doesn't mean that you can't get that same exact mentorship that I got. It's the same person and it's the same stuff. Then I started going and setting goals for myself. I thought, you know what I'm going to treat LinkedIn is? I'm not going to treat LinkedIn as a place to, chat bomb. I'm not going to use LinkedIn as this place just to vent and just kind of skeezily network. And some people are going to get upset, and I've ruffled some feathers. There's been some really cringy posts. There's a guy across the pond in England who we're not friends, and that's fine. I'll stand up to him again and again and again, because I believe in our industry and I believe in the inclusiveness and that this industry can be for everybody, but you do have to pay your dues, and there's some work there. And then I started watching people like Jessica Hernandez, Executive Hernandez. I'm using LinkedIn as just showing you. And the reason I did this, my LinkedIn is very intentional. When I first got into cyber, and I'm still just getting in, you're always just getting in, I treated LinkedIn like a part-time job. And I don't mean that I was on my phone 24/7. It meant that I was intentional with the posts that I made, kind of when I made them, and who I was commenting and who I was accepting as connections, and having that like vetting in my head, like, is this valuable? Is this person showing me one thing in their thumbnail, and then when I click on it, it's not that at all? Hack an Android phone? These short dopamine drops that don't actually build skill sets, all they do is make you think that you, right? It just didn't work. And so I was able to see really quickly. And Dr. Ozier says, hey, Jess, would you mind helping me look over the my book? I was like, cool, man, I'd love that. Right? So I got the honor of helping proofread this book, did some more building people up. I was a Swiftie before Travis Swift was, that's for sure. And then I found people like Christopher Eisen. If you don't know who Christopher Eisen is, this young man in Africa, look at these, and I don't know if you've seen this post, folks. He's doing more with less money, less resources than there are people with, I would venture to say, millions of dollars. And look what he's doing. He's building these labs out. He's getting people who probably, I'm going to get emotional here because this is the stuff that gets me fired up. He's bringing people that probably wouldn't have a chance in our industry, and he's giving them a chance for free. Doesn't ask a penny. Right? Go find Christopher, connect with them, because it's people like this that make the industry great. It's not the hacker man. It's not the tech wizards. If you have half a brain, you can learn tech. You can learn to be behind a keyboard. I promise you. Can you help? Can you be part of something different? Right? It looks like we used to call it slaying security plus. Isn't that funny? And I think somebody accidentally called it slay, and I was like, that's cooler. Here's 7 months ago, and this is just to get people going. This is not to name drop. Current IT cybersecurity educators that are influencing me. When I made this post, I chose my words very carefully. And if you notice, I didn't put cybersecurity influencers that are educating me. I was very intentional when I said cybersecurity educators that are influencing me. I treated LinkedIn like my full-time job, and I still do. A little different now, but I still do. The truth is out there, Wild West Hacking Fest. Or bust. That means I hadn't bought my ticket. I hadn't purchased my ticket yet. I just dreamed of it. This is from 7 months ago. This is from really kind of before becoming a moderator. This is before the collaborations with TCM or Black Hills. This is long before that. 3 cybersecurity companies, educators, absolutely doing it right. TCM, Simply Cyber, Black Hills Information. Inclusive, affordable, and relevant. Invest in yourself. All right? You're probably getting bored, but what I'm trying to do is build you this is just plugging in and finding something to give back to the community. I want to publicly thank you is where it starts, right? And I start coming up with these ideas to do live labs. And work with people like Zach Hill and Josh Madakor and bring in special guests. This is what I envisioned for Slaves. This is before we are where we are now, before the computer, before Wild West Hacking Fest. I said, I want to give back when I get hired, blah, 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 right? So I started doing these challenges to myself. Started creating my own time playing with AI, creating these graphics. They were fun. Up all night, sometimes getting up, setting alarms at 3:30 in the morning after playing, helping the newborn to bed, and then waking up to make a post, and then going back to bed, because that's what it takes sometime. 7 months ago, I would love to look at the actual date. Wednesday win. Oh, that's funny. Today's a Thursday too. So as you see, all that was before, right? This is before becoming a moderator. This is before all of the stuff. Last Thursday, I was contacted by a mentor to many of us, Dr. Jerry Ozier, and I was invited to be a mod on the Simply Sober Discord server. You see what I put here? I consider this my first job in cyber because it was. I had already stopped saying aspiring cybersecurity professional. You want to think, you want to do, you be. You do, to think is to be is to do, right? You got to train like you fight and fight like you train. It blows my mind to think in March of this year, I was scrolling LinkedIn Lost when I found Simply Cyber. The next day, I tuned the daily cyber threat brief and I was hooked. The community they have built is legit, and Jerry's model of education and training is helping to reshape the industry. Remember, this is back in the day. This isn't contrived, right? The sponsorship's not contrived. This is all just from posting consistently and commenting, right? Because what's going to happen, and I'm throwing this out there, but this is what's going to happen, is there is probably a good chance I will snag a pretty sick job with one of these companies that I look up to, or something is going to happen to me, right? It just will, because when we win, we all win. And some people might look and go, well, yeah, he knew Jerry. Well, yeah, look at all the people. Oh, he was just friendly. He was a charismatic guy. Of course he got the job. Of course the guy who was friends with people in the industry gets the job. It wasn't like that, and nor did it start like that. Any one of you can do exactly what I'm doing. You can do exactly what I'm doing. I went to Goodwill and I bought Security Plus books when I was studying, and then I gave them away to people if they needed them, right? Any one of you can do this. These fine folks shaped who I am professionally. Seek them out. They are mentors just by their example. Joe Helly, 7 months ago, you told me to carve my own path, and I took wicked good notes. Joe Helly basically said, listen, if you really want to be in cybersecurity, you don't stop with the bullshit. Stop with the just swimming in nonsense, the noise. You've got to figure out what you want to do, and you've got to be a professional. And from that day forward, that next morning, I changed my profile from aspiring. And even if I wasn't a SOC analyst, I just started saying, well, what am I? I'm a cybersecurity, I'm a collaborator. I'm in InfoSec, right? That's what I'm into. So Joe Helly completely changed my paradigm. Allison Van Stone, right? Remember her? She's busy like crazy on her own cyber adventure, teaching and blazing a path in her career. She's the one that called me out of nowhere and said, hey, I saw you on LinkedIn. This guy named Jason Alano, he does a weekly Security Plus study group. I know that you're studying. We'd love for you to come. Show up. There's mentorship and free studying and cool people. And all of a sudden, people are sharing LinkedIn's and whatever. It was amazing. And that is our community. People like Joe Hudson and Jake Price. My first professional connection here. Jake, if you're watching this, if anybody on the Haiku team or Jake Price specifically who works for Haiku, when I first got into really into the industry hardcore, Jake, I came up with the idea that to get in to do volunteer work for these companies and schools and businesses, and I made a couple posts on it way back in the day. I made a couple posts on it, and Jake's like, dude, you do this? He hit me up, and he worked for Haiku. He said, you do this? I said, I have this idea of this volunteer-based, I called it a company, but we didn't want money. And you can't make money on a volunteer company, right? I said, I have this idea, and this is like month 2 in the industry of like being in LinkedIn and seeing how just the amazing opportunity that's here to help others and to change my life. I said, what about an industry? What about this thing where people get real hands-on experience by doing real volunteer work for people? So you're getting meaningful work done to a company for a company. You're learning how to actually implement the controls, not just read about them. You're giving back to the community, and you're building a resume. I said, what about this idea? Let's start with schools. Let's start with securing schools. My thing was schools, and I still have a passion for securing our education system. And Jake said, I believe in that. Let's have a Zoom call. And it was kind of from that day forward, because I'd found my mentors. I'd found Jerry at this point. I had been plugging into people. But Jake Price said, I believe in this vision. Run with it. You just need a couple people in your corner, and you have people in your corner. Nick Barker, we're in your corner. You're going to pass this sucker. You're going to crush it. Absolutely crush it. And so now we're here now. I've got a few followers. Sometimes I wish I had less, because I think that number, and if it gets to be more, that's great. If all of a sudden people watch this and like, this guy's a clown, and it plummets, that's fine too, because there's a post somewhere way back here, way back here. Probably when I first got here and it maybe looked like I was trying to get views or whatever. I said, guess what? I'm not, accountability post. I'm not here for the views. Oh, look at this one. What's this? 6 months ago, late night, really tired accountability post. I don't know what time it was. Wish I could see. My calling, and this is 6 months ago, putting it out there, speaking it into existence, right? That's what we do. I am a firm believer in manipulating quantum mechanics, and like you can literally, I don't know. I believe that weird things are possible because of the truth is probably stranger than fiction. And if 90% of our entire universe is just unknown dark matter or dark energy, then totally believe that you can speak things into existence and walk into and fulfill them like 100%. At any rate, that's my mindset. My calling is to collaborate with others and reshape the training hiring paradigm. The initial goal was to get a job so I could afford to kick down some gates. The initial goal was to get a job so that I don't have to, I want to do this for free. And no matter whoever hires me, well, if they don't let me do this, teach, be part of the community and do it for free, I don't want to work for them. And I don't care who it is. I don't, because this is what my calling is, because there is somebody who will be like, dude, I love what you're doing. My calling, SlaySec Plus, we're taking to the next level. Branding, financial support. Yep, it has and always will be free no matter what. Put that on my set. That means to the death in street speak. Regulators, mount up. I used to be, I worked for a youth detention facility for a while. And they'd get mad and be like, I put that on my set. Those can be fighting words, you know what I'm saying? And then Zach Hill and I were collaborating, and this is when I reached out to him. He's like, hey, I think maybe he said, cool, good luck on like a TCM post or something inclusive. This is a while ago. And I was like, hey, Zach Hill from TCM at the time, TCM alum, now Black Hill Information Security Company. I said, Zach Hill reached out to me. He's like, hey, what, you want to collaborate sometime? I'm like, what about this Hack the Home Lab hiring challenge, which is still a vision, is still part of Slay Security Plus, where we actually take a group of people from zero and we go through from building a LinkedIn to hands-on labs to building a resume, and then we're all going to apply together and we're going to kind of monitor that. Some of us will get hired, some people will get jobs, some won't, but it's something that I put up here. And then Aegis Cyber Solutions was this thing that I came up with. Don't click on it, it's lame. It was my very first, I had just ideas. I have ideas all the time. Mission: equip IT cyber pros with actionable hands-on experience. No fluff. We collaborate with the brightest minds in cyber. I'm in, you win, we win. Margarita, Giron, Josh, and Fox Hunt. Accountability. Without accountability, whether that's an examination, whether that is your job, whether that is your personal relationships, whether that's fighting an addiction, whether that's repairing your marriage, whatever that looks like, if you don't have some kind of accountability in your life, it will not work, period. Find friends, find me, find mentors, but I cannot stress enough the importance of being accountable to yourself and what you say. Circle back, and we're going to launch into some studying. We are a fully sponsored, community-based initiative, right? This is a awesome workstation capable of doing a lot more, and it's going to be used to bless and equip and change everybody that plugs in from live labs, right? Because I'm learning along the way. For some of you that maybe don't know, I am a die-hard wannabe penetration tester, hacker, consultant. I believe in holistic cybersecurity, and so I actually have 90% of my blue team labs, like level 1 cert done. I just didn't sit for the cert. I love blue team stuff, but more than anything, I believe in holistic cybersecurity. You can't truly understand pen testing unless you have some kind of concept of GRC, some kind of concept of blue team. I just believe in the holistic nature of it, right? I'm getting rolling too. We're doing this together. We're building together, and I want to create opportunities. We want to create opportunities for you, all that are watching, to come along, kick down doors. You see who we're sponsored by? Simply Cyber. We got Anti-Siphon saying, hey, you can do our labs. Zach Hill and I were in a conversation. He said, dude, I'll send you some backdoors and breaches to give away to folks. Not name dropping. Don't come into Slay Security Plus and start name dropping. Slay Security Plus is community-based and it's organic, but you see the people that we're working with, and that all came from you guys giving support, plugging in, be like, Jesse, that's a great idea. Holding me accountable. There have been times where Margarita or John Vitucci, who are some of the Slay Security Plus mods, founders, along with me, they'd say, Jess, you're starting to get off kilter. Hey, Jess, we love the idea, but that's not exactly the way you said it was going to be. And you may ruffle some feathers if you do it this way, because I just have ideas all the time. I have like notebooks and I'm constantly texting people with all these crazy ideas. But I need someone sometimes to refine those ideas. So the accountability piece. A little bit of transparency. Slay Security Plus was founded by me. Our moderating team consists of John Vitucci, Margarita Giron, Taylor McDonald, and Justin Gold. Justin Gold holds a very special place in Slay Security Plus. Justin Gold was a Simply Cyber moderator. That's how I met him, was just by going to live streams. Jerry reached out to me before I became a moderator and said, "Hey, I love your Security Plus thing. Do you want to have a little spot on one of my channels?" Sure. Justin Gold reached out to me and said, to keep some of the traffic and like keep it all in one place, I have a Security Plus server on Discord. I highly suggest you check it out. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, and actually, I kind of want like we're gonna do Slay Security Plus through this Discord. I'm like, oh, okay, right on, dude. And so, Justin Gold, I have a very special place for you in my little heart, man, my little hacker heart, because you freely gave up the server that you built for an influx of people who were doing something that I'm doing. It wasn't even something, it was an idea that you liked, and you said, I believe in this Simply Cyber model of community-based content. And Justin, you invited me to your server, and it's taken off. And most of us, there's a lot of people in our server that have already taken their Security Plus, and we're here for the mentorship and the communication and the content and just like hanging out and jaw jacking and whatnot. So Justin, the Slay Security Plus server that you found on Discord, that is not mine. I've had nothing to do with it. That is 100% our buddy Justin Gold's server that he created as a place to share Security Plus materials. And so it's a huge honor to have somebody like Justin Gold say, hey, you know what? You're making the server bigger than me. And he stays quiet and you never would even know. But Justin Gold, I cannot thank you enough for letting us be part of what you are doing, collaborating. And as far as I'm concerned, you're a founding member of Slay Security Plus. And so I can't thank you enough. Misty Eye, congrats, Jesse, on the sponsorship. Thank you so much. Winning, Dr. Jerry Ozier in the live stream. Welcome to the stream, sir. Welcome to the party, pal. I appreciate you and your sponsorship, your time, and believing in what we here are doing in Slay Security Plus, because it's what Simply Cyber would want to do, right? It's not what would Jesus do sometimes, it's what would Simply Cyber do, or what would Zach Hill do is what I think. All that to roll up to here, people like Gary Ruddle saying, you know what, he's really busy, but what if I just asked him a question? What if I just shot him a DM about something that we related on? Instead of saying, hey, Gary Ruddle, can you tell me how to get into the industry, please? I DM'd him with something like, hey, Gary, sweet, I don't know. I really like that. I don't even know what I said. I said something about that was in the video, content that I was curious about, critical threat hunting, CTI. I asked a question about what that person did because I was genuinely curious. When you ask people about things they're interested in, there's a good chance they're going to give you some feedback. Gary Ruddle messaging me, no matter how busy he was, he'd take time just to send a message. And it was like, dude, these people are incredible. All future, and this is from 6 months ago, all future proceeds from Slay Security Plus will now go directly into supporting the cybersecurity education community. This means creating more volunteer opportunities, better hardware, tighter curriculum, and the ability to change lives. Thank you to all those that bought me a coffee. You literally just put bacon on mama's table, time to pay it forward. This is from 6 months ago. This is from before sponsorship talk. This is before Wild West, man. This is just me putting it out there. Because Toasty Pops, who's actually in chat right now, said, Jess, why don't you do a tip jar? And that month, it was tight because unemployed. Mom was putting bacon on the table part-time, and I'm carving out a cybersecurity career. The money from that live stream bought dinner and bought groceries. Literally. And you may not know that, but it did. And that, again, reinforced this: when we win, we all win. Let's go. So to see this is like, it really is cool because, yeah, and I will own, yeah, there was sacrifice. I'll own the late nights and the early mornings and maybe time away from family when I wanted to build out a post or just researching, spending money on this stuff. Bringing the highlight to other people, right? Like Space Tacos, like Justin Gold, like DJ B-Sec, Misty Eyed, Kenneth Lowy, Toasty Pops. You guys are what makes Slay Security Plus. The same way that Jerry would probably tell you, you are what makes Simply Cyber. I'm just a guy with a microphone that loves to help people and is obsessed with information security. I probably have a problem because that's literally, outside of guitars, like in my family, that's really all I think about. Cyber, infosec. I can't get enough. That's enough from here. Let's close out this one. Here's an example of some of the labs that we're going to go through. I'm hoping next week we can go through this lab. This is from the Anti-Siphon SOC core skills class. I reached out to Anti-Siphon and they gave me the okay to publicly live stream their labs. A lot of them are open source, so it's not like it's just having the courtesy to say you put the effort. John Strand and his team put the effort into these labs. And are they free and open source? Probably, maybe. But it's just saying, hey, I really appreciate what you did and I think this has value. Is it okay if I stream this live? Absolutely. Go for it. So these labs, and let me tell you something about the John Strand labs. If you haven't done a John Strand lab or something equivalent in the B Black Hills community, it's kind of, it reminds me of like the TCM, the simply, like, here's the thing. It's real world stuff. This isn't BS gamified, capture the flags. You're not looking for a quirly quotes with a quick dopamine fix that you can submit to get points. That is not what John Strand and Anti-Siphon Labs do, right? We're not collecting points. We're not getting dopamine fixes. Cybersecurity is a lifestyle. It's a lifelong journey if you want to do it right. And if you do the journey right, it can pay dividends, both financially and you can change and help a lot of people, right? Change lives. In this lab, we will be looking at a backdoor through the lens of Linux CLI. Cool. We will be using a large number of basic commands to get a better understanding of what the backdoor is and what it does. This is not something you're going to just pop into. You might be able to pop into TryHackMe and Hack the Box and all these CTFs, but you got to sort through all this introductory BS just to get to the stuff that employers are actually looking for. An employer doesn't care if you can get curly cued, good for you, quick dopamine fixes. They want to know that you can do the work. Can you extrapolate this stuff from your capture the flags and turn it into real world work? The first is where we run the back door. The second is where we connect to it. The third is where we'll be running our analysis. Let's get started by opening a terminal as administrator. No BS, all right? This is the VM that comes with the course. Oh, did I mention the course can be free? The SOC core skills class here with John Strand. Free. I chose to contribute the minimum because I believe in what they do. But look, reporting for pen testers, these are pay what you can courses. So if you can't pay anything, you can still take the course. We're going to run as administrator, right? Well, this particular virtual machine also allows you to run Ubuntu within the Windows architecture. So we get to go into, and we're just going to walk through some of these commands. The password is blah, blah, blah. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a FIFO backpipe. Anybody in chat who's entry level? This is an entry level course, and I want to tell them, do you know what a mod backpipe P is? Because at the time I wasn't 100% sure, but I can tell you that FIFO means first in, first out, and I'm sure if we did some Googling, we could figure it out. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this is not just stuff you get right out of the gate. Next, let's start a backdoor, bin bash, okay? And now this is all broken down, but if you take the pay what you can course, John Strand, SANS instructor, Black Hills founder, breaks down what bash is and the importance of learning bash scripting. Instead of being like, which distro should I pick? Should I do Parrot? Should I do Kali? Should I do Pop OS? Learn bash scripting. There's books. Go buy one. You could probably find one used for pennies on the dollar, or find me. We'll find you one for free. Learn the Linux system, right? So John goes through this. Now we'll need to know the IP of our Linux systems. He types in ifconfig and makes a joke about how modern day cybersecurity professionals, we like to roll with the IPA command. I'm still ifconfig, but the IPA is like the new slang. And remember, our IP address is going to be different. And this is it. This is one of the second labs. So you've gotten some John Strand goodness to build you up to this point. So at this point, a lot of this is really making sense. So now we're going to connect a netcat on 172. Here's our .quadded address and the port of 222, right? Now we're going to go through and we're connecting backdoors and we're looking at really specific things that you're not just going to get in a capture the flag in a 15-minute, 10-minute dopamine fix. This is real world stuff. Is some of it entry level? Maybe, but some of the most basic commands, or at least some of the most effective commands, are actually some of the more simple tools. You learn things like at Nmap, there's a tool for the job, right? TCP dump isn't necessarily better than Wireshark. And if you don't fully understand TCP dump, you might have a hard time when you're really trying to dive into Wireshark. What is the tool for the job? Same thing with my study sessions. The Slay Security Plus might not be for you. Hopefully we can point you in the direction of a tool that is for you. We can see a number of interesting directories here. We're seeing all kinds of stuff, right? The team. And so this is just a pretty simple, straightforward lab, but these are real life labs that we can go through in our VMware and live stream these. And then you can say, let's say you're at home and you go, man, I can't afford that. I have a crummy computer, but that's cool. I got to see Jesse go through it. Oh, here's the course. Oh, the pay what you can. Okay, cool. $25. I got $25. Pay $25. $50. $50. Oh, it has a cloud-based version too to keep it accessible and keep it inclusive for everybody. Absolutely free. And that's what blows my mind, right? Is like, this is real world stuff that we're playing with. So we'll be able to do labs like this coming up. We're going to go through Nmap. And like, when you go through a John Strand course, you don't just learn Nmap. You don't just learn who built it. You get to learn sometimes the why it was built. I'm a history nerd, especially around computers. I love when we start talking about like DARPA and RFC. Like, anybody an RFC nerd? Request for comment. When people start saying request for comment, like yes, let's go. Like, this is the fun stuff that, like, the TCP stack. When you get a John Strand course, you get things that are just real deal. Very similar to the way a Heath Adams TCM course. It's going to be hands-on. It's not going to be a lot of fluff. And if you want fluff, because I had to eat some dessert before my meat and potatoes, and I did that in the form of Try Hack Me. That's your dessert. That's the sweet stuff. That's the quick dopamine fix. But you will always be at an entry level unless you get your skill set pulled up. So you can watch all the videos you want. You can watch others do labs all you want, but until you're spinning up your own VMs, you're troubleshooting, you're understanding the command line switches, what works, what doesn't, you're always going to be like, oh, I'm aspiring, hope I figure it out. There are companies like these guys putting out information that you can 100% get started right away. So TCP protocol, let's put this in chat. This is just a thrift books. Actually, let's do this. I don't know the website. Let's just have some fun here. Whenever I don't see something and I know it doesn't have any PII, this is what I usually do almost all the time. Oh, this is so awesome. I get to navigate on the fly. Dr. Jerry, I can't thank you enough. So now I get to navigate. Okay, well, I'm not sure about that. Not familiar with VirusTotal. It's an open source tool that many people in the cybersecurity community use to verify URLs and files, hashes, IP addresses. Highly suggest you check it out. I did a deep dive, not a deep dive, but I was up one night and just running all these different files on my computer. So it's clean. Community score 0 out of 92. Whenever I see a link and it doesn't have PII, or I'm going to send something to somebody else, a lot of times I'll run it through VirusTotal. It's not 100%. You can't. Remember, if you can, when you can, trust your manual tools and your manual enumeration, right? Port, ping, parse, John Strandism that I stole from him. It's phenomenal. Find the port, ping it, find the port, what's going on in the service, and then parse the information, figure out what's going on and fix it. So I'm going to put this link in chat. This book is called the TCP Illustrated. It's a heady book. I had a digital version. Let's see if we can find that. Illustrated. Oh, is it two? It's from a school, and they might even have it here. But where was it? Was this it? Yep, there's a school here. So you can spend money, or you can go to this website for free. Let's run it. VirusTotal. I mean, it should be good, unless that's where I got all my stuff, all my viruses. TCP Illustrated Volume 1. Now, is there a Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4? Probably, but this is free and it's legit. And it's gonna teach you some RFCs, and it's gonna tell you the history of the internet. We're gonna talk about layering, introduction, TCP layering. The OSI model is bullcrap. Nobody actually uses it. That's another strandism. And I always wondered that. I'm like, man, this really seems like a bunch of BS. do some homework on the OSI model versus the TCP stack. In reality, what we use is the TCP stack, right? It looks a little heady, but look at this. You start to really understand. UDP, look at this. Some of these things from Security Plus start to make sense. I cannot recommend this book enough. Oh, link, sorry. Can I put links in? Yes. This is the free version. I use this at the very beginning before Security Plus to help me learn like CIDR notation and like IP, like packet headers, and kind of like how this all works. When I was still mesmerized by it, I used this book to get me fired up, and I don't know. And it's, even though it's a technical heady book, the way that he writes it just helps. Although the network interfaces on a host and therefore the host itself are known by IP addresses, humans work best by the name of a host, maybe a fully qualified domain name. In the TCP world, the domain name service is a distributed database that provides the mapping between IP addresses and host names. It doesn't get much more simple than that. In the TCP world, the domain name system is a distributed database. If that's confusing, you can further parse those words down and Google them and figure it out, right? It's a distributed database that provides mapping between IP addresses and host names. Straight up. Question answered. No capture the flag. You have to spend a penny, and you probably already knew that, but if you didn't, now you can go really deep on TCP. We're going to go down to chapter 14, just for poops and giggles. The domain name service is a distributed database that is used by the TCP applications to map between host names and IP addresses and provide electronic mail routing information. We use the term distributed because no single site on the internet knows all the information. Each site, university, department, campus, company, or department within a company, for example, maintains its own database of information and runs server programs so that other systems across the internet, clients, can query, look for, ask. Search. The DNS provides the protocol that allows clients and servers to communicate with each other. So there's the basics of DNS. And so when you look at things like DNS spoofing or different redirection attacks, and you understand, oh, I know that, you're manipulating DNS records. Great, that's fine. Do you know what DNS is? Do you know why it was created and how it works? You don't need to be an expert on Dr. DNS, but you need to know how it works so you can have a conversation so that once your resume gets bumped through and you get to the hiring manager and he asks you a question and maybe you weren't 100% sure because you're like, oh, I got my Security Plus and I know that DNS attack is a thing. This is freely information available that any of you can go out here and pick up. But this book, let's see. Oh yeah, we're waiting for that other link. Sorry. I get going on a rant like this when I'm pumped up. Adrenaline is running, the coffee is running. I hear my voice getting slightly deeper. I'm talking. DNS is the crux of all issues. Yes, sir. Okay, let's rock into some studying. Let me grab some water. I'm going to check up on chat. This is going to be a somewhat extended version of Slay Security Plus. It's a sponsored edition. You can consider this I guess this would be kind of technically our mid-roll or towards the end. And you're going to notice some things a little differently. Not differently, but some additions to Slay Security Plus. Now you know the history. Now you can see how that relationship with Dr. Ogier has been built. And so as Dr. Ogier is a community sponsor of Slay Security Plus, I want to make sure that you understand how awesome the resources that he is providing are. If this is your first time here, throw it in chat how awesome the resources are. That is part of why we are all here today, truth be told. And so things are going to look a little bit differently. We're now sponsored, which means that we have a level of accountability, not only to ourselves, right? Because I would have done this anyways, but we now have a next level of accountability to Dr. Ogier and Simply Cyber that we're going to continue to bring actionable, highly effective, inclusive, and also Dr. Ogier is not going to just let me rest on my laurels. I got to I have the opportunity to bring in more guest speakers, to live stream even more live labs, right? And the sponsorship, the length of the terms of the sponsorship aren't very long. And I'm telling you right now, we'd be doing this no matter what because we believe in the cause. So go check out simplycyber.io. Can't get enough. Let's rock into some Security Plus content. Boom. Boom. What is the CompTIA Security Plus and how does it operate? You probably see here in the corner, I've got a PBQ pulled up. Let's hide that because we'll get into that. This really needs to be your Bible. You need to go download this. Later, Space Tacos. Dr. Boss is going to keep an eye on you. Heck yeah. Well, I do well with accountability. I can stay accountability myself pretty darn well, but I do require like sometimes a come to earth conversation with people like Zach Hill and Jerry from time to time, because if left to my own devices, I'd probably self-detonate pretty quickly. So CompTIA Security Plus, what is it? It's our multiple choice exam. Go ahead and Google and download these exam objectives, but I want you to get a copy of these and use them as like a Bible and a roadmap. Right here, as you can see, it's probably really small. You need to zoom onto the content. I know I made a mistake, and I don't think it's zoomable because it's because it's I put it into it's in a presentation instead of a. Well, let's see if we can do it this way. Oh, there it is. With the new computer set up, as you can see, some of the stuff that I've been downloading, some VMs, Kali Linux, Professor Messer's study notes. Well, that'll be good enough. That'll be good. This is $30. This is Professor Messer stuff. It's the best in the biz. I'm not sharing it. Let's get this on. With great power comes great responsibility. And that's actually one of the things that Zach Hill said. He's like, dude, you got this brand new sponsored workstation. He's like, learn how to become an absolute BAMF with that thing. Like, learn how the limitations of your streaming system and get really good at what you're doing because it's working, and just keep pouring back. I'm like, Zach Hill, dude, you're the man. So general concepts, threat mitigate. So this is the Professor Messer, but these are our Security Plus objectives. We are right here in domain 2. We're going to start with segmentation and access control. Before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit, maybe it has this, I think it does have it in his, of what the exam is, right? You're probably not your first time, but it is a multiple choice exam that combines a lot of multiple choice with what they call performance-based questions. You can think of a performance-based question really as a glorified multiple choice. This is what PBQs on your test will look like. It frustrates me that nobody helps the community out there with getting some insight onto maybe how difficult these are, what they look like. Cybercraft has some phenomenal videos. Outside of that, CompTIA keeps this pretty close to their chest. So, and I think it's BS, quite frankly. I'm sorry, Kennedy, that it's gatekeeping, because people are terrified of the performance-based questions. They're literally glorified drag and drop questions, give or take. You're going to be given a scenario. Implement secure remote access protocols, performance-based question, right? So it's telling you, this is during exam day. This is an exam. I am not sponsored by CompTIA at all. This is a gifted package that I was gifted to use in my studies and to teach with. So this is what a PBQ looks like, right? You get drag and drop options. You can't see it, but if you could right now, you click on this little thing right here and a bunch of options drop down. Based on the scenario, the drop-down selectors to select security details, then use the checkboxes to identify remote access security considerations that align with the guidelines in the scenario. All right, go back to the scenario. As a systems administrator, okay, gives you a little scenario. Selecting a remote access method is widely recognized, so it's going to give you some things to do. Remote access method. We've got direct access, RDP, remote desktop protocol, SSH tunneling, or VPN, right? We're not going to go through the minutia of this, but you're going to click on whatever, SSH tunneling. Then you look at user authentication. And I want you to pretend that each of these drag and drops, when you're taking the exam, pretend that they're a multiple choice and it's asking you, reword it, okay? So you've got your scenario, but let's say you're on this first part of the question and you've chosen SSH tunneling as you, that's one of the options here is SSH tunneling as you see, right? You've chosen that. And you go, oh, okay. Now put another question in your head that says, and think of it like a multiple choice. A sysadmin has chosen SSH tunneling as their remote access method. Which user authentication would best describe blah, blah, blah? We've just turned a PBQ into a multiple choice, and now it becomes a lot easier because you can go A, allow list, B, multi-factor authentication, C, role-based access control, or D, single sign-on. So now you've tricked your brain into thinking that you're looking at something you didn't study for, and you've turned it into something that you in fact did study for. You'll usually get between 3 up to 5, I believe, maybe up to 6 of these performance-based questions. From my experience in 601, they weren't quite as difficult as the ones that are in the Cert Master Lab, which I think is both a good thing and a bad thing, especially because this is an entry-level examination certification, and it's not going to get you hired, period. And so I think a lot of what you're doing in these PBQs will most definitely get greater refined as you experiment, do labs, get your first job, all that kind of stuff. Right? Okay, so now we've chosen whatever. And I could be wrong on these, but we're just doing this for brevity and for to show a point. So now it's still a PBQ. And if you didn't know how to change this in your head, you would still be freaking out maybe because you're like, more drag and drop. Now we convert it into a multiple choice question again. You're a sysadmin and you chose your remote access method is SSH tunneling. Your user authentication you've selected as an IP allow list. Please select the best, which one of these best provides device authentication. Is it A, certificate based? Is it B, Kerberos authentication? Is it C, password based? Or is it D, shared secret? If these terms and this stuff is kind of funky to you, don't worry, we're walking you through it. That's what Slay Security Plus is all about. And so you select whatever it is, right? Now you've just taken what was a drag and drop, kind of a scary PBQ thing, and you turned it into what you've already been doing, which is 80-some multiple choice questions. And now it says, identify the key considerations for remote access that align with the company's guidelines. Choose all that apply. Blah, 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 blah. I'm choosing. It's something that's super important to understand about CompTIA. Their stuff is probably, it's not probably. CompTIA's exam has partial credit. We've talked about this in other live streams before. So identify key security considerations, right? Choose all that apply, meaning that, and I don't know what their point system is. I don't know what a PBQ is versus a multiple choice question. I do know that there are some multiple choice questions that are harder and therefore worth more points. And there are some that are easier. All CompTIA questions are worth points. If you miss it, you don't get points taken away. It's just you don't get points for that certification question. Why it's incredibly important you answer every single question, because a lot of these questions will say choose all that apply, and at that point it's a good chance that you're going to get partial credit. So if I choose all that apply and then I submit my test and CompTIA says, oh yeah, these ones he selected are good, but these ones are actually make the question incorrect, while you may get the question incorrect, you'll get partial credit for the parts that you do get right. That's why it's imperative to answer this stuff, everything that you can to the best of your ability, because CompTIA does want to see you succeed. They do want your money again when it's time. If you don't get your CPEs, they do definitely want your money again. And so they want you to pass so they can get your money the first time or the second time or the third time, depending. Slay Security Plus is here to make sure that you don't have to spend money on that second time or that third time, so you can put bacon on the table. Maybe you can buy somebody else a voucher. Maybe you can take your friends out to dinner. Maybe you can buy yourself that nice guitar pedal you've always wanted, or whatever it is, right? So that's what a PBQ is. And then we're going to go into some multiple choice questions, which is the remainder of Security Plus. We're going to start with the practice exam or some practice questions. And we're only going to do a couple. we're launching into what would be a normal Slay Security Plus study session. So to all of you that have been watching this entire time, thank you for letting me really get on this soapbox and preach kind of my journey. There's a lot more to it, but there's a lot more to all of your journeys as well. Thank you for letting me get up here and talk about this sponsorship, how much it means to me as Jesse Johnson, and how much it means to me as Mr. Slay Security Plus, the Cosmic Cowboy. It's a life-changing thing, right? For some might be a computer. To me, it's something that I get to continue to build potentially a legacy or something for other people that's much bigger than myself. And so that is where we're at, and we're going to rock and roll. Sorry, I got wrapped up. I get emotional sometimes. We're at the practice the exam part. So we're going to do 2 or 3 questions. This is what a normal... Oh, yeah, thank you. I'll have to say thank you for hanging out. That was it. Thank you. Normally, a Slay Security Plus session looks like this. We do an intro where they are going to have a special guest. You're either going to have a hands-on where we're going to be walking through real-world labs, or we're going to be doing the exam stuff. So Slay Security Plus really kind of gets broken down into 3 editions. Slay Security Plus Exam Edition, which is where we do just the multiple choice live quizzing. We'll have Slay Security Plus Guest Edition, where we have a special guest host that'll join us. And then we're going to have Slay Security Plus Hands-On Edition. This is where we're navigating real-world labs. We're building out our LinkedIns. We're looking at resumes. We're doing the ones and the zeros and the command lines. We're hacking. We'll do some Let's Defend. We'll do some defensive stuff from the SOC Core Skills class and other things that I've vetted or that have been brought to me that are truly a benefit to the community. I'll walk us through some hacking labs in my experience. I'm really become fascinated with web development, web app pen testing, and coding. It's just been something that I've been cooking on in my own time. Absolutely fell in love with it. And then we're going to talk about some GRC stuff as well and how it all fits in. So we're going to document the results, and then you're going to do the targeted reading, which would be the lesson part. And we're going to use Professor Messer's notes for the lesson part. And then we'll revisit some more quiz stuff. Okay, chat is down. Go ahead and get yourself some water. I'm going to start this session. We're only going to do a couple questions, and we're going to roll into the lesson. We'll wrap up with a couple more questions, and then we'll call it a night. So this is without knowing. We're in 2.5. You gotta patch it. Yeah, a Stream Deck. That's next. I need a Stream Deck. Just kind of increase. Or I can play my own tunes. I got a Les Paul back here and a Strat we can just bust out. Joe Hudson, where you at? You watching this? You sent me those tracks, and now we're going to record them. Oh, yeah. I may or may not be working with some people in the community on a cybersecurity song. At any rate, can't do that on that laptop. All right, here we go. If this is your first time joining us here, all-inclusive live study session. This is 100% anonymous. So whether you're clocking in for the first time, you haven't been here in a while, or you're coming back to do some studying, this is, like I said, completely anonymous. You join us at vvox.app, and our ID is 130-509-038, or use your device, scan the QR code, and it should take you to these practice questions. These are what I would consider a nice combination of quiz questions and really close to real exam questions. I don't think they're quite as good as Messer's stuff, but they're some of the better ones that I've worked with, found. And so, yeah, they're pretty good questions. I read through the question, and then when you go to answer it, you're going to get the option to click a bubble on your phone, and you're going to do so. And I would appreciate it here at Slay Security Plus, where we actually leave the answers out of chat. It helps avoid imposter syndrome or anything like that. So if you could use your device, and if that's a problem, if you're having some issues with the VVox, please get at me, and we'll find another way for you to participate in these live study sessions as well. So we read it out. We're going to go through the answers. We're going to jaw jack a little bit, and then we're just going to dissect the answer. I have not pre-read these questions or answered them on my own. Today was running around with some kiddos and then preparing for tonight's live stream, moderating Simply Cyber content, and building out some resume stuff. So we're busy. I haven't had a chance to look at these. Let's go. Which cybersecurity approach monitors and analyzes the behavior of users within an organization to detect anomalies indicative of potential threats? To detect anomalies. So what's an anomaly? We're going to break down the question, and sometimes a lot of these words, regardless of where your your education level or your vocabulary looks like. Sometimes when we see these words all together, it can throw us off, right? Anomaly, something different than the norm, right? Anomaly, A, usually against, anomaly, or I would think that has to do with, you break down the word, abnormal, anomaly, something that is outside of the normal. Indicative of potential threats, such as insider threats, compromised account, or fraud. Which cybersecurity approach monitors, right? So this is out of domain 2.5 to be specific. And this is a good example of a security plus question. They're going to give you a scenario or a concept, and they're going to ask, what would you do? What would you implement? Are we looking at endpoint detection and response, EDR? Are we looking at host-based intrusion detection systems, HIDS? Are we looking at extended detection and response? Or are we looking at user behavior analytics, UBA, or user and entity behavior analytics? Again, with these multiple choice questions, let's look through them and do some answering without even really Googling or thinking too deep. DJ BSEC, it's A, you silly sysadmin, you're wrong. IT Security Pro, no, I'm kidding. Look at some of these things. We're looking at analyzes the behavior of users within an organization. From your experience in Security Plus, EDR, HIPs, and XDRs don't have anything to do with behavior, and one of these options does. And when you look at this, you go, well, duh, Jess, this is obvious. This is super easy. This is a common technique that CompTIA uses. You'll be like, oh, the answer is literally in the question. It is. And that happens a lot more than you think it does. And you will never, ever on Slay Security Plus be made fun of for asking a question or getting the answer incorrect. I am wrong on this stuff all the time. When I'm hacking, I'm wrong. I break things. I get frustrated. I can't throw this computer. I mean, I can, but that would be bad. I want to throw computers through the roof. I get frustrated. I've spent late nights Googling one little problem on a tool that I was working with just so that I could finish a TCM lab. Correct answer explanation. UBA detects anomalies that could indicate potential threats, such as insider threats, compromised accounts, or fraudulent activities. It leverages machine learning and statistical analysis to determine a baseline profile for users and entities, and then continuously compares new behavior against the baseline. Endpoint detection. So we're going into why the answers are incorrect. This one's pretty straightforward. What would I do? I would try and do the free stuff first, see if it actually works, and then I would learn how to Google dork because I want to get that information quickly and efficiently. All right, a medium-sized company has entrusted its IT administrator, Justin Gold and DJ BSEC, with the crucial responsibility of improving network security. The company's network contains sensitive financial data, proprietary software, meaning software that is only yours. It's proprietary song means it's my song. A proprietary recipe. Let's say a company comes out and their recipe ingredient says proprietary blend of spices. And if you ever see food and it says proprietary blend of anything or proprietary blend in a supplement, don't buy it. That's their way of saying it's our ingredients and we don't want to tell you what's in it, right? Proprietary software. The coding and all the stuff that makes up the software belongs to that company and you can't see it. And employee records. Since the IT admin's task is implementing access control lists or ACLs, one thing I love about the Security 701 is we've started to take this hyper focus on the word cybersecurity. Folks, it's IT security, it's OT security, it's ICS security, it's social engineering security. It all comes from the same place of securing networks, applications. Don't get hung up on IT security, info security, cybersecurity. I love that CompTIA is starting to include IT administrators into the conversation because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of what an IT administrator does is cybersecurity. It just isn't called cybersecurity, and maybe they're not elite hackers hacking away with 10 monitors, but what they are doing is cybersecurity. Just want to throw that out there. What is the primary objective for using them in control computer systems and networks? Hey, Bashir, what's going on, man? Bashir from my LinkedIn family, Slay Security. Bashir and I connected probably last year, some point early in the year. Good to see you. Welcome to the party, pal. Many people that are in cybersecurity started off as IT criminals. Wait, what? Oh, IT admins. I don't know. Where did I read criminals? BSEC, for some reason, I thought you said many people that are in cybersecurity started off as IT criminals, and I don't know why I thought that, but that is funny to me. And I think DJ BSEC and a lot of us would also agree that many people who are in cybersecurity didn't start off as IT admins. But you got to pay your dues. Period. And I will die on that hill. A medium-sized company is entrusted its IT administrator with crucial responsibility of improving network security. The company's network contains sensitive financial data, proprietary software, and employee records. Since the IT administrator's task is implementing ACLs or access control lists, what is the primary objective for using them in the networks? Oh, dang it, man, I made a computer. Wow. See, it's okay to make mistakes. I built this and I put in the wrong answer. I put in the question in the answer spot. We'll get better, refine. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do it wrong. It's okay to get it wrong in front of other people, as long as you're learning something and you're moving forward on the next go. Break, be wrong, fail 1,000 times. Final question. Before we go into a little bit of studying, which security feature in the Linux kernel supports access control security policies, including mandatory access controls? If Mac controls or mandatory access controls is something that is unfamiliar to you, go ahead and review the Professor Messer stuff. Or maybe go back to, there's lots of resources out there. But one way to think of access controls is we can think of our file permissions on Windows. It's not going to share it. Okay, you can click on a file and we can see that the file has been set at a level, right? And there is nothing other than the IT administrator can set that file's level of confidentiality. Okay, so let's say I have a recipe for Slay Security Plus on my computer, and it is confidential. Okay, and now I've got a group of people that I let remote into the Slay Security Plus computer, and they go into my file structure. Well, my main moderator, Silly Dogs, I have him the same level as I do, right? His level. Now the file is confidential. We're just going to call it confidential for whatever. Just work with me here. The file is confidential, but his security level is at a certain level to where he can either access the file or you can't. It's a mandatory access control. The control is on the file. The whatever that level of authority your credentials will let you. That's how far you can get. It's not you. You can't necessarily change that. It's controlled by that IT admin. So the file has the hardware, the file, the program, the song, whatever it is on your computer is going to have the level of permissions that the person is going to be able to access. Hey, that's me. Cell Linux. Cell Linux is a security feature of the Linux kernel that supports access control security policies, including mandatory access controls. This is really important because we're talking Linux, right? Linux kernel. So again, going back to some of that, exactly, group policy. Thank you. Let's throw that one again. Not reopen the poll. But one of them says group policy. BSEC makes a great point. Which security feature in the Linux kernel supports access control policies? Well, from our studying, and we know from coming up through maybe Net Plus or just from experience with your own computer, maybe from building labs, maybe it's from going to a John Strand course, maybe it's from doing a TCM course, maybe it's from doing Cyber 101 with Jerry. You know that group policy typically is with Windows, and this word says Linux. I mean, that's not right, but I'm just saying, like, that's how we can kind of start to look at these questions. Justin Gold, get off my lawn. That's funny. Professor Messer has his notes on his website. They're $30. I bought these with my own monies. Okay, I'm not sponsored by him. Bought these for the group, and they're awesome because I'm continually learning myself. 2.5 is all about segmentation and access control, right? So let's say we took that pretest, and I'm walking you through the methodology of Slay Security Plus more than tonight's a study session. Tonight's more of like, dude, we're sponsored. This is where we're going, full steam ahead. Come with us. Let's kick down the gates. Let's build a community. Let's get hired. Let's get certified. Let's go. So this is almost episode 0001 if you want to look at it like this. $30. Highly recommend you check this out because his videos are free. And I truly believe between the free videos, the $30 notes, or maybe a $40 book or something like that, you have everything you need to pass CompTIA Security Plus without thinking you might need to do a retake. Throwing that out there. You can pass this certification for really, really inexpensively, and you don't need to spend money on boot camps. I'm not going to say who, but I was looking at what do people charge for Security Plus boot camps. And so I had to fill out a couple interest emails. And so I've got people that are like, dude, how can we help you with your training? And I'm like, I was actually seeing how much you charge because I do the same thing for free. No, it's not in 24 hours. I mean, you're not coming up to Slay Security Plus in your past. I mean, maybe you could, but it's not, 2 days, but we're doing what a boot camp does better for free. That's what I want to tell them. Now, and that's why we have guest teachers, because the areas I can teach and I can tell you the training material and I have some experience that I can relay. But why don't we have Jerry come on and teach the GRC part, right? Why don't we have people like Tyler Ramsby come up and talk about pen testing and hacking? Let the experts do some teaching. And so I'm all about empowering others to teach. It's one of the reasons I brought Taylor on, is his experience of taking certifications and networking, but taking certifications. Taylor brings a level of expertise in the certification world that I don't have. I'm nitty gritty. I want to learn a few things, and then I like to break and get my hands dirty. A little bit of both, man. I use primarily Messer, his Discord, your sessions in his voice, and a shit ton of practice questions. Sorry, Kennedy. Yeah, I found that the Pocket Prep app, I purchased all 3 apps when I was taking Security Plus. I don't know how many there is now. 2,500 bull crap. That makes me angry. I got Pocket Prep for my app. I bought all 3 or 4 of them and compared them. And I found the Pocket Prep just did it. It had better questions and it had better answers. It cited some references from where they're getting it. Okay, so Slay Security Plus mentality. I digress. Rabbit. We've taken the test. We've documented where our areas of weakness are. Okay, let's say we're pretty good on all this. And we're going to go more into this on Monday. Taylor's going to walk us through it. And then we're going to touch again on next Thursday. So don't worry. We're not going to miss 2.5. But let's say you didn't know what least privilege was out of your studying. Well, then we're going to go through, we're going to watch the Professor Messer video for free, and you're going to use the notes and you're going to mark them up and you're going to learn what least privilege is. And you did it for cheap, and now you know, and you will never miss those questions again, because we're not memorizing questions, you're memorizing the concepts. And I challenge you that once you memorize the concept, memorize the surrounding concepts of what makes that concept the concept. John Mayer, love him or hate him, he's one of my favorite guitar players. He said something in an interview. He said a lot of people just want to learn songs. They want to learn my song, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. He plays the lick. He said what's really important is not that you can play the lick and impress your friends, because that's super cool. But more importantly, do you know that lick comes out of a C# minor chord? And understanding how it all fits together is unbelievably important. So you're not going to miss out on this, right? But we need to understand how it works. So you're going to memorize the concept, and it's so important. You memorize the concept of what makes up the concept, the dream within the dream. You might have to Google. You might have to, and this is not calling anybody out, because I've had to stop myself from doom scrolling or compare scrolling or imposter scrolling. You might have to stop, open up a Google, spin up VirtualBox for free, get yourself some Ubuntu and break things. And then go back to your Security Plus studies, and it's going to start to make more sense. And then you take a break and maybe you do some intro free try hack me, and you go back to your Security Plus study, and it's going to make more sense. Stay laser focused on passing this thing, but be okay with taking a break to get some hands-on. There is no might. You will have to use Google or ChatGPT. Dude, man, I pay for ChatGPT. It's worth every penny. I use it almost every day, and it's wrong sometimes. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's helpful. It is what we make it, right? So you've taken the test, you've documented your results, and then you're learning about what least privilege is. You learn about decommissioning, right? You're watching Professor Messer's videos to get more insight into those areas. Okay, so we've walked through this now. We're walking through it, right? We walked through the practice exam or the practice test that you took, a quiz to see what you don't know. Then we documented our results. We found out that we're a little bit weak on mandatory access controls and maybe least privilege. Then we did our targeted reading. We found the pre-Professor Messer videos. We watched that. I said, Mom, Dad, brother, sister, cousin, Jesse, somebody in the Slay Security Plus community, I would love to take Security Plus. I can't afford his notes. You got to believe in yourself. I promise you, if I believe in you, somebody in your circle believes in you, and we'll give you $30. You might have to sacrifice a cup of coffee. You might have to cancel some memberships. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it in the industry? Okay, that'll answer a lot of the other questions when you're trying to apply and get a job. So now we've done the targeted reading, and we're going to continue. So let's pretend, document our results. We're doing the targeted reading about the stuff that we were unfamiliar with. Then we are going to go right back to some more quizzing because we identified our weak areas. And this is all, again, I'll reiterate, this again is just condensed of what a study session could look like, may work for you. So you've done some studying. Ooh, stop poll. You might see the answer on that one, and that's okay. Reopen poll. Go. So now we're going to take some more quiz questions because you've read, you've studied, and now it's going to sink in. And every time you do this method, the amount of information that you forget is going to go down. The first time you look at something, you might retain it right away. I have the wicked ability to remember just scripting and command line stuff really well. Switches. I can look at it a couple times. I'm like, oh, definitely. This definitely does X, Y, and Z. It just does, definitely, right? I'm good at that stuff. But sometimes it's easy to forget and to miss like where that stuff is coming from, or to get misplaced, get yourself all jumbled up. So go back and we're going to quiz ourselves. Did I really soak it in? Do I got it? Do I know what's going on? An organization uses host-best intrusion detection prevention, or HIDS, HIPS, to secure the enterprise. Why would the organization use this type of mitigation technique? A, to monitor and protect individual hosts, like a computer or a server, from unauthorized access or malicious activities. B, to contain a malware within a single host and facilitate remediation of the host to its original state on endpoint devices. Let's break that answer down a little bit. To contain a malware. What is malware again? It's malicious software. It's software that does something malicious to your system. It could be a lot of different things that we covered in domain 1. To contain a malware, so to contain a bad piece of software within a single host, could be a computer or a server, right? So remember the host client concept. So now we're starting to build on these building blocks. And facilitate remediation of the host to its original state on endpoint devices. How can you, this is just a question to think about the concepts that make up the concepts. How can we assure that we can remediate an endpoint device to its original state, which is the state that it was before it was compromised? I think we did do this question, BSEC. I'm just flowing. All right, backups, tested backups. That is one of the ways that you can return things back to the original state. Is not just backing up regularly, testing your backups. That's some of the things that maybe you may get asked in a security question, and you may say, very important that you back up your files and have a hot site, because I think I remember that, or a warm site, because I remember Security Plus says that. All right, well, talk to me a little bit about that. They may say, what does that mean? And if you're not ready to go a little deeper and explain the concepts, there may be a chance that the person that goes into that interview after you does know that information. Stay hungry. What is the purpose of implementing the principle of least privilege in endpoint protection? To restrict user access to specific network resources. B, to enforce mandatory security configurations on devices. C, to manage firewall rules across an organization's network. Or D, to grant minimum permissions needed to perform tasks. Back that thing up and test it. Test your backups. I've had personal backups. I've had corrupted hard drives or whatever. I backed it up and it was not a good backup. In college, least privilege. The question answers itself, right? Boom, 100% of you. That's what I like to see. The principle of least privilege in endpoint protection to grant user application processes. Sorry, I'll slow down. The purpose of implementing the principle of least privilege, or POLP, in endpoint protection is to grant users, applications, and processes the minimum necessary permissions required to perform their specific duties and tasks. Just enough to get the job done. Even when I was doing IT support in IT operations, I would tell the MSP and my bosses, because they're like, oh, we need you to get on the Active Directory and on the cloud on Azure Entra ID, and you need to be made global admin of everything. You're the IT guy. You're the cyber guy. You need to be global IT, global everything. The MSP, they're willing to make me the global admin of everything. And I was like, actually, I just need access to administrative tools and I need the ability to do administrative things. But if we could keep my account just a user account, I'll use the admin stuff when I need it. And when I don't need it, well, I don't need it. So I'm good just being a user. Like least privilege. That was our last question. We did 5 as an example. Let's do a couple more from a different poll. Got a few more minutes. My amazing family is letting us go a little bit long tonight for this special episode of Slay Security, session of Slay Security Plus Exam Edition. We're going to answer a couple more questions. We're going to make our way out of Slay Security Plus, and I implore you to check out Professor Mester, his free video resources. You can watch those and soak it all up. His notes are about $30. I truly believe they're worth every penny. You're welcome to check us out for your weekly live streams and that live quizzing and all of that good stuff. Josh Madakor on LinkedIn has done his Security Plus. Jerry, the ability to just like cruise on this thing is insanity. Josh Madakor has a bunch of really good Quizlet questions. I call them like Quizlet questions. I wouldn't call them like full on like tests. I mean, they're good. Well, when I think of a test question and a Security Plus question, they're a little headier. Some of them are just single sentence questions, but usually they have a little bit of heady nonsense in them. So here's this question deck. I'm going to link this in chat. This is a free resource from Josh Madakor, a cybersecurity professional. Oh, wait, that wasn't it. Come on, Jess, get with the program. What is this, amateur hour? It's like coming on to do jaw jacking and having your microphone muted. There's this link, and then here's the corresponding book. This is the Daryl Gibson Get Certified, Get Ahead. He wrote this partially posthumously, so after he passed away, with another author, and this is the resource they used. I'm always a fan of knowing where your sources are. I love this book for 601. For 701, I'm really enjoying this Ian Neal book. He breaks things down in a way that's it's a lot more relatable. I really enjoy the content in this book. Also has really good questions in it. And then this link is the book which it came from. Josh Madakor, if you don't know, now you do. Make sure you're checking his stuff out. See. Lots of free resources. Do the free stuff first. Just let me think of any links. That's some other links we need to drop that I do not want to forget. I will link them maybe in a post, some of the resources that we use instead of linking in chat. If you haven't already, check out Dr. Jerry Ozier's Breaking into Cyber. Let's see if I can find it. I think I have a bookmark for it. BSEC, I don't know if you have that link for the Good Doctor's book, the free one. And I'm going to link that in chat. I'm going to go back and find it. The link in and of itself, the one that I have here, like, will take you right to it. Here it is. So we need to set up a chat battle on here. We do. VSEC, we need to and that's the thing with taking it to the next level is you all in streamer land. I'm not max. I'll learn more techniques, but as far as just the stuff that I know Jesse how to do right now, I'm not maxed out, but chatbots, overlays, some of the sound effects and transitions, I like to get up here and I like to teach and play music and stuff like that. So in that era, I could definitely use a helping hand, 100%. And I'll admit it. We're community based, right? This is Dr. Jerry Ozier's book. It is The Cyber Unlock, the ultimate guide to breaking into cybersecurity. And I'm typically skeptical of things that make those kind of promises, but yeah, that's right. Check out, so you jump in, put in your email address. I respect your privacy, as Jerry says, unsubscribe at any time. So even if you subscribe for the free book, this book is really valuable, especially if you're just getting here, and you haven't maybe picked a path, or you're just kind of starting to figure it out. Not only is getting on this email group stream really valuable, and again, you can unsubscribe at any time, but this book, I highly recommend it. Kind of was one of those things that when I got in, if I had that manual, would have been awesome, but you have it now for you all out there. Loose ends. No, live streams, calendar. Who do we got next week? Space Tacos, I believe, is our special guest next week. Let me check my calendar real quick. I've got some special guests lined up. "29th of February, is that next week? Yeah, so next week our special guest is community member Space Tacos. We're going to hear a little bit about her journey into cybersecurity, how things are shaking for her, and the things of the like. So make sure that you are checking in on that for our special guest. And then I have it on my calendar, and I need to put it on there. We've got Zach Hill, March 14th. Zach Hill from Black Hills Information Security, TCM Security alumni employee, will be joining us on Slay Security Plus. And then later in March, I believe the third week, we'll have Dr. Jerry Ozier on Slay Security Plus, Tyler Ramsby. So a lot of special guest lecturers and special guest mentors coming up. We will have some more giveaways. I haven't forgotten about the TCM giveaway, the 2 that I owe everybody. I haven't forgot about the Security Plus vouchers. I'm not a fan of giveaways for the sake of just getting views. And so we will be 100% collaborating with some of these companies to do some really, really exciting giveaways. But they're not going to be like, just show up and get a giveaway. We want to have some accountability and some other things around giveaways before I do them. And so we've got vouchers coming. We've got some really cool things in the work for special guests. We're only going to go up from here. Always free. You can find us on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, I don't know what else to say. It's quite surreal to be here talking to you all. Absolutely in love with this community. I know that sounds cheesy, corny, gushy, whatever you want. Hey, and that's not even, I went and bought some new RAM because I thought, why not? It came with quite a bit, but I want more. I don't even need it. I'm blown away. So I might have to take this back. I was going to play 128, but I think that might be overkill. I don't know if the CPU, I have the CPU to handle it. At any rate, you guys are Slay Security Plus. I'm Jesse J. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for the support. Thank you for everything that you guys are doing by being here and showing up. Can't wait to do this again. I can't wait to see where you're going on your journey. Feel free to DM me, find me on LinkedIn, find me on the Daily Cyber Threat Brief every weekday morning. Usually I show up relatively early and we moderate, crushing the Daily Cyber Threat Brief and what's going on in the cybersecurity community. Find me there. I see Dax acting in chat. Dax is a guy on the Professor Messers. I shouldn't say Dax is a guy. Dax is a being. He's a human being. Sometimes I wonder if he's human. I don't want to dox Dax, so I'm not going to pull up his LinkedIn. And I'm not going to send him anywhere. I'm not going to send you guys anywhere. But go to Professor Messer's Discord here. That I will link. Boom, boom, boom. There is phenomenal resources here. Professor Messer is absolutely an inspiration to me. Now, definitely recommend listening to it on like 3x speed. You're welcome, Misty Eyed. Beep boop. So that's Professor Messer's Discord. You can find Dax there. Dax is taking Security Plus. Dax may or may not work in robotics, computer programming, top level security, really cool stuff. And Dax may or may not know really, really cool exam hacks and have study methods that I may or may not have learned from. Dax happens to still became a good friend of mine, and he's right here, but we talk on text and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing here may or may not have influenced directly by what Dax did for free out of the kindness of his own heart. So like I said, there's the links. Go check out Professor Messer. Find me on LinkedIn. Check out Slay Security Plus on LinkedIn. Find Margarita Gold. Whoa, what am I putting out there? Find Margarita Giron, Justin Gold, John Vitucci, DJ BSEC, and Taylor McDonald, our moderators. Make sure you're checking out Dr. Jerry Ozier and the Sippy Cyber crew, our session sponsors, and Josh Mason over at Mason SC. The three companies doing it best in the business, baby. TCM Security, Black Hills Information Security, and Jerry Ozier. Plug in the Sippy Cyber team. Plug into one of those three communities, one of those three companies, and I won't steer you in a wrong direction. My name is Jesse J. You all are Slay. Until the next time we meet,